TikTok is a huge source of culture and information for teens. It's also where they make their dumb memes.
Sticking out your yacht for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity.
It's also where they get their news and contribute to the cultural conversation.
Scientists have just discovered that Uranus may be filled with a lot more methane than previously thought. Okay.
But recently, the US government passed a bill that could force TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell TikTok to an American company. Without a sale, TikTok will likely be banned in the US within 12 months. So what's behind this ban, and what does it mean for the teens who use TikTok? It's a lot more complicated than aging lawmakers not knowing how technology works.
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi.
Or the US being mad that a Chinese-owned company made the most popular social media.
America should be feeling humiliated right now. China made an app so popular that the government has to ban it. That means communist China beat free market America at capitalism, all right?
Let's look at this possible ban from two angles. First, we're going to break down the conversations happening around the ban. Second, we'll talk about how the ban would or would not affect teens. The official reasoning for the TikTok ban is about national security concerns. Lawmakers privy to classified intelligence briefings claim ByteDance, TikTok, and by extension China could abuse US consumer data, manipulate users, and undermine US interests. And so they decided to ban it. On the surface, this might seem unprecedented, but it really isn't. The founders of the US anticipated that foreign governments would work to undermine their young republic. France and England were seen as countries that might use their power to influence American politics. Alexander Hamilton, that's right, your boy,
What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton.
even warned foreign powers also will not be idle spectators. They will interpose, the confusion will increase, and a dissolution of the Union ensue. Of course, there's no way the Founding Fathers could anticipate a world with TikTok. It is funny, however, to imagine what they would make of our modern world. To give them a sleeve of Starburst, a Celsius, and an iPad and just let them go to town. The authors of the Constitution would probably be hesitant about a rival government having a powerful tool to broadcast into the hearts and minds of the American people. This is partly why the United States government has consistently limited who can control the information infrastructure of America. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, was established to oversee interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and US territories. Essentially, to run a major media distribution outlet, you need to be licensed by the government.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
So the United States has always been aware of the power of influencing what the American public thinks about, and they want some oversight into who is doing that and what they are saying. The First Amendment of America's Constitution states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." So the constitutional argument against the TikTok ban seems relatively clear. By banning TikTok, the government is limiting a mode or method of free speech, especially for many young Americans who use the platform to express their own views and to be exposed to other people's views. But TikTok doesn't simply publish information. They also collect and curate what they share. They employ a complicated and secretive algorithm that decides who sees what and steers certain audiences to see certain posts. And that's where the First Amendment argument could fall apart. At Axis, we've often said that the media we consume, the TV shows we watch, the games we play, the music we listen to, and yes, the social media we engage with, doesn't tell us what to think, it tells us what to think about. But when it comes to algorithm-based social media platforms like TikTok, it's probably more accurate that they actually do both. Today's lawmakers might not be very tech-savvy sometimes, but they do understand the power of information platforms to influence people. But remember, the purpose of the ban is for TikTok to continue to exist, just under the banner of an American company. The real question then becomes, Should the government be able to say who can own these platforms and potentially steer that influence? As Charlie Warzel wrote in The Atlantic, at the heart of the government's case against the app lies a contradiction. The logic is that TikTok is the beating heart of a social media industrial complex that mines our data and uses them to manipulate our behavior. And as such, it is very bad for an authoritarian country to have access to these tools. Left unsaid, though, is why, if the government believes this is true, should anyone have access to these tools? But let's turn our focus back to teens. We know that social media platforms can help bring communities of like-minded people together. It can also help you connect or reconnect to the people that you love, or give a voice to the voiceless. And of course, it's entertaining. We also know that to some extent, spending a lot of time on social media isn't great for us. We know that Instagram, owned by American company Meta, damages young women's self-esteem and body image. We know, probably from experience, that social media is often a big time waster as we lose hours to doom scrolling or watching videos. While selling TikTok to an American-based owner may be better for US security, it doesn't do much for teen health. TikTok is so good at getting teens to look at it for hours that Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat have all attempted to knock off their product. TikTok as a product is effective, even if it's unhealthy for the end user. An American business probably wouldn't change that. Christians should always be aware of what influences us and where we place our attention. Christians use TikTok and social media too, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also worth asking if we should place healthier, more intentional boundaries around it. Because beyond any conversation about bans and foreign political influence, where we place our attention is inevitably who we become. And as Christians, our first goal should be to become more like Christ. We'll leave you with the words of John Mark Comer. The mind is the portal to the soul, and what you fill your mind with will shape the trajectory of your character. In the end, your life is no more than the sum of what you gave your attention to. Thanks for watching this video. Here are some questions to help continue the conversation. Do you think a TikTok ban would be a good thing or a bad thing? And what are some things that you know influence you? At Axis, we rely on donor support to continue to make videos just like this one. If you'd like to give a gift of support or check out more resources, you can go to axis.org.